Well, everyone, welcome on a Go for Diamond call this evening. The call is hosted by Chris and Tammy. We're Crown Diamond Associate with Max International. And this call tonight is I believe, very, very important. In fact, all of the trainings have been important, but this one, we're going to be sharing with you some of our insights on how we do effective one-on-one presentations. And I'm not saying that we have all the answers, but what I'm saying is that what we have done has been able to get us to Crown Diamond, and not just to get us to Crown Diamond, but we've been helping numerous other people. Where we produced a new Crown Diamond about a year and a half ago. Everybody knows Dr. Bright Redu out of Ghana. And again, it's not just because what we've taught. We've been planting the seeds for people to duplicate, which for those of you who have duplicated the steps that we've been teaching, we have seen some great results. And this evening, we're finishing up the series of trainings that we started in a new year and in the Success Cycle series. And this is training number 9, which is the one-on-one presentation and how we do an effective one-on-one presentation. So let's start with some of the details, notes before we start the meeting.
All right, everybody. And, you know, one of the things about these one-on-one presentations that are critical, and what Chris and I have done for many, 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 many years, we've been in the industry for a long time, and it really builds your business posture, which is what you want to do if you want to succeed in this business. If you want to grow this business fast, you want to develop these skills as quick as possible. And presenting is one of the biggest skills that you want to be doing in building your business. Okay, so you know, before you go to any meeting one-on-one, you know, there's some things that we want to share with you that we've always done. And number 1 is to show up on time. You know, you want to make sure that you're early, you're prepared before your guest shows up, whether it's a coffee shop or in your home or wherever. Make sure that you're prepared. You want to dress to impress. And what I mean by that, I mean, if you're doing a casual one-on-one presentation, I mean, you don't have to always dress up in a suit, but dress professional. Be professional. People are looking at you in the way you present yourself, in, you know, as their evaluation process in this business model. Okay. Number 3 is to share your excitement and your passion. You know, people, they will. What is I'm just trying to think of who it was. It's for years ago. It just slipped my mind. But people will drive for miles to watch you burn. People love people who are passionate and excited. And so if you're monotone, you're not going to capture anybody in this business. Okay, so make sure you're passionate and excited. Number 4 is to share your personal experiences. Really connect with people on an emotional level, because that's what's going to get them to buy into the business, and of course you. Number 5 is to have them see that Max can help solving their problems. You know, bringing them solutions, bringing them something that they've always desired. Number 6 is to share your why Max, because we all have passionate stories about why we're a part of this business, and people, again, they want to know you. All right. Number 7 is to have confidence and passion, and make sure your voice is very clear. You don't want to speak too fast. I know when we do these recording or these calls, sometimes we have a time gap in limit in doing the call, so we speak a little bit fast. But when you're with people, making it about that one person one-on-one or few on one, make sure that you're very clear. And of course, open body language. Always have that openness with people. And number 8 is to unfold the Max story. Make it more of a story than reading slides. Okay, and make it compelling. You want to make sure that you've got the emotion part of it in your presentation, and keep it real, you guys. That's not there, but really keep it real. Number 9 is have applications on you. Make sure you're prepared and in business. Always have product packages on hand, because you just never know where you're at.
And the reason why ActiveTeam.com is there is because there's a lot of resources there for you. Maybe some of you are aware, maybe some of you are not. But go to ActiveTeam.com, select video. And in there's a series of different areas you can go. For example, the Go for Diamond call is actually there. Under the video section, you'll notice there's a Go for Diamond call video section. And then beside that, there's one that says miscellaneous trainings. One of them is called Success Cycle, I believe. And when you click on these links, for example, the miscellaneous training, there's a whole series of trainings that comes from all sort of different walks of life and different things that we've done. The one I want to refer to is the compensation plan training. It was done in 2015. That's 3 years ago. And it's been seen, I don't know, maybe 13,000, 14,000 times. At the end of the day, has been very useful to help people present the opportunity, because if you understand the model, you can present it better. And you don't have to talk about every details. You just need to know the elements that will trigger an interest. And for that, we really recommend for you to learn the compensation plan and don't always depend on someone else to do it for you. Otherwise, you're always going to be chasing the money. Okay, so it is important that you become what we call autonomous. Now, in moving forward, in the initial connection, what's very important is in the very first step, okay, before we start the one-on-one, we thought it would be practical to share this with you, is, first of all, if you followed our trainings on the prospecting and inviting, you'll notice in the prospecting aspect, there's the 3 N's, the 3 need, the name, the number, and the need. Because once you got the need, then you can tailor your presentation towards the need. It will come very handy as you move forward. And of course, send the video link. And what we recommend is the Why Trade Time for Money, which has been working for many, many years for many people. Remember, for you, maybe it's 3 years old, 2 years old, whatever. But for your prospect, brand new. Always keep that in mind. Okay? And then you send the video link. And we also recommend to send the ribosine, the science video. And if you're not sure where they are, again, you can go to gocmax.com, www.gocseemax.com, just the way you would spell it when you tell someone, gocmax.com. And it will actually show you those first 2 links or those 2 videos, and the other links happens to be North American presentations with the obviously US dollar amounts. And of course, every markets have their own, so and I know some of you are from Ghana and Nigeria, and I know you know where to access, but it's all under the document section. So the fact here is, don't send a whole bunch of file. It's overwhelming. Send these 2, right? And then from that point on is just make sure that you get a commitment from your prospect. They're going to view this. Book the one-on-one with your prospect, right? Or if it's a webinar call, or if for them to attend a presentation, make sure that you're clear and book the time. Right? And we recommend also to book a 3-way with your senior business partner, your mentor, or your parrain in English. The word didn't come in.
Your mentor.
The associate who sponsored the other associate. For some reason, it's a blank. Okay, so the person who sponsored you maybe have more experience than you, right? So your sponsor, here we go. That's the word I was looking for. I had such a hard time with. So your sponsor, ask them to maybe help you validate the opportunity, right? This is all part of the process. Okay, so now let's move into the tools that are available. Well, when Tammy and I present, there's some of us are going to be using iPads. And it doesn't have to be a Mac here. It just happens to be what I had here. But it could also be our brochures. And these brochures are available on the Active Team website. It's available for Ghana. It's available for Nigeria. It's available for Canada and United States, right?
I think the brochures are awesome because it creates simplicity. And especially when somebody's brand new in building this business, it's easy for them to carry a brochure and to have one in front of the prospect as well when you're sitting down with them. So they're actually reading the brochure while you're presenting to them. So you don't have to be so nervous about them staring at you and watching you, because I remember being new in this profession too, and it's nice that that you have something to put in front of them to be able to evaluate. And again, if you have your laptop or iPad, just just gear that towards them so they have the screen to look at. So, and you're just going to follow a process of connecting with people and sharing the Max story with people. And I think the most important thing, I think that would be the next slide, Chris, but always have your tools with you.
And as a matter of fact, the reason why we have all these tools is to give you guidelines as you're sharing with your prospects. You'll notice if you look at the flyer, and you can go back, for example, this is the North American version. We started with where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years from now, right? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to be? And this is very, very important when you start a presentation. If you get right into the numbers and all you do is talk about the products, folks, you always will end up with the same thing with either customers or customers. If you want people to come in and understand and view the potential of this opportunity, they need to see that this can actually come in as support for their needs and goals and wants, right? If all they see is a wonderful product with wonderful science, well, you'll have some that will definitely might see the opportunity, but it's kind of grayed out. It's not clear. So start with their goals, right? So one is you want to be on time and ask them, what they like best about the video, right? This is to give you some examples of how to get started. What do you like best? Not what did you think or things like this. Because if it's a person who happens to be maybe a little bit on the negative side, you'll find that you'll have to pedal back and try to bring him back to a positive aspect, right? So that's why I always start with a positive statement where ask them what they like best about the video, right? And the thing is, and that's the question, is where do you want to be 2 to 5 years from now? See, now we're starting to create, and maybe some people have no idea. Before your meeting, they might have never really focused on, maybe I could have these things in life, right? And often this is what network marketing does. It helps people see the big picture. What could be, right? And ask them what they do for a living. Maybe you already know, maybe you don't know, but again, it's a typical question, right? If they happen to be lawyers, doctors, or if they happen to be housewives or whatever it is they do, because it is a living to take care of your children. I mean, this is full time. So again, it's important to understand what context they're in, right? And ask them if what they're doing now, is that in line with their goals? Right? Most people know it's not even close, right? So what do they need to change for them to achieve their goals? So what you're doing is you're starting to create the question, what if? What if I make a change? Could I get this? And when people start dreaming, it's amazing what can actually transpires in a presentation and how you can build on the interest in selling the opportunity.
Okay, and in the first part of the presentation, once you've got their interest, by then you pretty well should know where their focus is. And honestly, I don't sit down one-on-one with somebody unless there is a business interest. I like to qualify people on the phone or through social media and see where their interest lies, because if it's just about the product, I'm just going to get them in as a customer. If there is a business interest, that's when I want to sit down with them or sit down in a Zoom presentation with them, invite them to a webinar to come and see a presentation. So if one-on-one, we tend to bring our laptops with us and we'll do a standard presentation that most people have seen all these presentations by going to the hotel meetings or in-home presentations. And then you've got the brochure as well. So the overview on the brochure, if you have access to the brochures, you want to go through that. Really it's about, the overview would be really talking about the power of the industry, the wellness industry, the anti-aging industry, the power of all of that. Being able to work from home, people are looking for that. So kind of throwing some things in there that are really critical. You're going to talk a little bit, not much. Don't spend a lot of time on science and all the detailed facts. They can learn all of this in trainings. You want to really capture their attention on their needs more than anything and how this is going to line up for them.
So what's important here when you look at these slides is you want to give people the expectation. I find that when you're given the expectation of what you're about to present and you deliver what you say you're going to present, you keep their attention. So this is to make them understand that there's two aspects in the presentation, right? There's the opportunity and there's the wellness aspect. And we also want them to understand that this is the business of the future. You know, a lot of people, they don't see the value of network marketing. They have no idea that it is already taking place as a very, very legitimate way of creating a different source of income for individuals. And it's growing fast, right? So you can share that on the flyer. Often, folks, the flyer, I use that and I leave it in front of them as I have my PowerPoint on my iPad or laptop. And so they can leave with they can't leave with my laptop, but they can leave with the flyer, and that's the reason behind it, right? So the point is that you want to share the relevancy, right? The credibility, the support system. Because what's happening here is that, first of all, we do have obviously the founders behind this, but what I think has a lot of value for most people is that it's backed up by some leading medical researchers. They can Google these guys and find numerous information about them, right? And also we have a health advisory, which is a bit of an old slide. It's probably about close to 8-9 years old by now with all these, because we have a lot more doctors in Africa. So obviously we need to evolve these slides. The point here is that we're attracting attention from the medical practitioners because the science is credible. And we also want them to understand that there is a problem in our society, right? So you want to present the problem. So we're dealing with two of the biggest global concerns today, the health and the financial global crisis. And what we have, in fact, is very, very important for the human body. It is in fact, critical for wellness. And that's the reason why we have the portion on the bottom right. We create about 40 billion new cells. And this is why it's so important to communicate this information so they understand the value that we don't have snake oil here. We're dealing with something that is very important. People need to know about it. And you don't have to be a doctor to share all this stuff. Just a very simple person like Tammy and I can share this information, and we can become millionaires if we share this to enough people. Because what? Because the product can make a significant difference in people's lives.
And if you go into too much detail, you guys, you're going to lose most of your audience when you're presenting one-on-one or in front of a room. So it's really important to keep it as simple as possible, because after any presentation, it's going to tailor to the needs of the person and what they're looking for. And you'll notice that most people won't go deep into the science unless they come from the medical field, and then you would cater to that. So you want to make sure that they understand that your vitality is a reflection of your cellular health, and your body creates 40 billion new cells every single day, and every single one of those needs glutathione. So you want to tell them what glutathione is, and you want to make sure that you really spend time on the benefits of what the glutathione, when you elevate your glutathione, what kind of benefits you're going to have. Because people thrive on benefits.
Think of it when you buy a new car. You don't necessarily know how the engine works. You do know that when you put your key in ignition or you bring your key fob in the car will start. Why you buy a car? Because of the benefits of the car. Think of it that way. This is how consumer thinks. They don't need to know the engine and all about the engine, right? You'll bore them to death. And this is what often happens when we start sharing this opportunity. We get too sciencey. So what's also important in a presentation is to share the problem we are facing in our environment today, to create value when the solution is presented, dealing with air, the water, and the food. And that's the reason why that slide is here, right? So there's many, many factors. It's not that glutathione is bad. The bad news about the fact is that it's decreasing over time due to the environment. And then I'm not doing a presentation. I don't have to go through the details. But we wanted to understand that the word glutathione, which is what you just spent a few minutes on explaining what the value is associated to some serious issues in our society today with inflammation. So we need to increase it. And how do we do that, right? So this is how it comes into what we have to offer.
And of course, you want to bring credibility around the science-based products with the certifications that are there on the screen. make sure that you share that with people, because it brings and it validates and it takes the value of the product so much higher when you share this with people with the BSCG, the NSF certification, halal, because we're dealing with an international company. And of course, Health Canada, I mean, this is the toughest market to get product approval. So when all of our products are approved in Health Canada, you know that they're good products, okay?
So again, in moving forward here, what is also very important as you are presenting the opportunity. Now we're going back to the goals. You remember we talked about the goals, and you started with that. Where do you see yourself in 2 to 3 to 5 years from now? Now we've established that. We've established a little bit about the company, the credibility behind it. We established a bit about the credibility about our science and what our products are all about. So what's going on is that if you're shared information, you've been clear, and you're excited about the information, we are building a case for your prospect to start recognizing that there's value here. Now we're getting into how can you get compensated by sharing this information. So again, you're sharing the relevancy based on what we shared earlier and attached to their vision, right? So what happens is that it's an opportunity to reignite a vision that maybe many have lost, or lost belief that it's possible. And again, this is the slide. This is where you want to, and then, you know what's really fun? Tammy and I travel around the world, and we see all sort of different presenters sharing in Ghana and in Nigeria, in Canada, and in the United States, or all over the world. And it's really interesting how creative some associates are when you get to that slide. And they have fun with their audience or their one-on-one. And that's the key, is to create an emotional connection for them to understand the potential, if they get out of their comfort zone, to share this within their social environment.
I love these sheets. I know that they're available on Active Team as well. You can also download them and print them. But it gives people a clear picture. If you're showing the brochure or you're showing the slides, I like to put this in front of them so they can follow through in a simple format, a step 1, step 2, step 3. It's so simple, and it creates a lot of clarity. And when they leave with the page, and they know exactly what they need to do to get this business started. So we always put that out in front of our prospects. And of course, if you have the brochure in front of you, you're going to see, you know, more details of the compensation plan. If people have never seen this before, they might be overwhelmed. And an experienced networker will understand this, but somebody who's brand new in the industry might be overwhelmed. That's why it's important to have that sheet with you.
So the key is you want to keep it very simple. There's really 3 steps here: the autoship, the prime bonus level 1, and the relationship between the prime level 1 and the binary placement, right? And at this point, for some people, that might be enough, right? But for others, you might require to go a little further. Or you can start with that and you can expand. And again, Tammy and I just want to give you all the different options, right? So as you share the opportunity, and many of you have seen the business opportunity presentation. You know, there's a few slides prior and after with the faster and everything else. I'm skipping all of those right now. I'm just going to the elements that are important to really emphasize attention is on the prime bonus. You want them to understand what the prime bonus is. Why is that? This is the reason why on the previous slide we talked about it, right? Is on the previous slide, the prime bonus is right there. It's very simple, and it's associated to binary. Now over here, we're getting into more details. And again, you may choose to get into this or you may choose not to. I recommend it, but you need to be clear on how you're explaining this. And it's the same thing here, just a bit more colorful, a bit more words here. But the prime bonus is the fact that the company states that we need to have 3 people in autoship, and they maintain an autoship every single month, but you need a total of 500 points. This is the reason why on the right-hand side you got 2 more. Of course, those 3 can be compensated by having their customers to top up the 200 that's missing for the 500, because if you add 3 times 100 is 300. So at that point, when you've done that, you're reaching the level that can get up to $75 US. And I know there's different currencies. And by the way, all of this information is in all the different currencies if you go to Active Team under the document section under the respective country. Now, on the right-hand side, I'm just defining what the prime bonus goes from level 1, level 2, and level 3, right? And if you're not comfortable explaining it, then don't go there. Because between you and I, if you have every person in your business that you sponsor qualify for prime 1, and this keeps duplicating, by default you get to prime 2 and prime 3, and by default you'll hit your bronze level and your silver level and your gold level and so forth. So it becomes very, very attractive when you marry all the information in a logical sequence that people can relate step by step, mixed with passion and posture and belief.
So if you look at the prime where you have your 5 people lined up, this is how it marries, goes right into the binary section here, which is how people are positioned in the company. So there would be 3 on the left and 2 on the right, or 3 on the right, 2 on the left, however way you put it, but there's your 5 people. And then what your goal is to help every one of those people to get their primes. And then when they get people, when they get their primes, they're going to be helping their people get their primes. And you can see this can grow exponentially. And the goal is, I mean, most people's goal is to get to diamond. Max does incredible things for people who reach the diamond level, and free trips and rings, and just they roll out the carpet for the diamonds because they know what it takes to build a network. So then the next step is for them to make a decision on how they want to get started in the business. And there's the Premier Pack for those who are really serious and want to get a fair amount of product in their hands so that they can start networking and build their business faster. For people who can afford to do that, they're going to do that. There's the Momentum Pack. I know in other markets you've got your own packages that are relevant for your markets. This is really the North American slide here. And then there's personal packs as well. So you want to let them decide what they want to choose, but give them the benefits of being part of one of those packages. And of course, the more they get, the more people they get exposed to, the faster that their business can take off.
So the fact is, every countries have these 3 selections, just a different variety of prices and different details on how it's being delivered. But the fact here that I want to talk about quickly here on the overview and the binary is you want people to understand the relationship between the primes and the binary team bonus. Often people completely dismiss that information. So those 5 people, do you notice that they're there? Like Tammy stated, on the left and on the right, you have 3 on the left and 2 on the right on this particular example. What you wanted to understand is when you get to prime level 1, this generates a block of CV of 500 CV minimum. So now you can start quantifying how do you get to bronze by calculating how many prime 1 you need on your left and on your right. And they don't have to be all from you. They could come from their downline, even if it's just binary. That becomes very attractive. And when you have a clear understanding of what you need to do, people tend to do the activities because it is clear. So that's the point I wanted to share. And of course, in North America, by the way, it's not $49, it's $25 now. My apologies, which is the distribution right now. It's been, I need to update my training here. But that is included in the Personal Pack, Momentum Pack, and the Premier Pack. Now, Tammy is just going to step away now because she needs to go and prepare for her training that starts in 15 minutes or so. So I'm just going to finish up here with this particular segment, which is very, very important, right, is a third-party credibility. We call it 3-way call. This is something that is missing from most of you out there, is you do not utilize third-party credibility from people who have achieved the dream that many of you are chasing. And if you team up with these guys, people who are living the dream, to share with the people that are looking into maybe creating those dreams, you will find that your ratio and conversion for people to want to start the business will double, triple, definitely increase. And you can access this training if you go to activeteam.com, document, Canada, USA, English training and success cycle. But you can also access it now if you go to activeteam.com under video, under the Go for Diamond Call segment. It's the call that we did last week on third-party credibility. I highly recommend you go back there and listen to them. I also recommend listen to the invitation training and the prospecting training and the follow-up training. These are all the trainings that will help you on the money-making activities. Folks, if you want to build an organization that will sustain an income for the long term, you need to apply the basics that are duplicatable. And what we shared with you here is exactly what that is. And third-party credibility can really help you or the new associate who does not know what to say and what to share and how to go about sharing it. It could all be covered by the third party who has more experience than you. That way, even though you might have missed a few segments that you realize might have been important, will be covered with a person who has the experience in sharing. That's why a three-way call is so important. So folks, that brings us at the end of our training segment. I want to thank you for attending this training this evening. This call will be is recorded and will be posted within the next within the hour. Again, on the active team segment on the Success Cycle series. So, folks, thank you so much for attending this evening, and have yourself a wonderful week. And we look forward to share again on the following week. And the last training segment, I don't have the details in front of me. But I believe is getting started. Anyway, we'll check. So the point here is that the last training next week is the last training of the series, and then we're going to be going into some interviews and getting some high-profile associates or executive members to share with you their experiences and vision. Okay? So have yourself a wonderful evening and a wonderful week, and bye for now.